Good morning, guys. It's Pleiku day 2. So what are we doing today? Today we're going to go around the parks. There's a lot of weird things to see in Pleiku. They have a really cool amusement park, like attraction park, and then they also have a massive statue of Uncle Ho. So we'll go see that. But to start the episode, I figured I'd show you the most typical food you can find here in Pleiku. I couldn't really find anything online, but I went out last night to a soccer game with some people, and they said you have to try Pho Kho if you're here in Pleiku. So, as you guys know, pho is like a noodle soup. This is nothing like it at all. So, we have this kind of clear broth. I don't know if you guys can see it. Clear broth. I believe it's got some beef or pork. Hard to say, really, really thin beef. And I think it's your typical beef broth. We have, and then here, we have some beautiful, really thin noodles. We have some chili, we have some more pork. And then we have the typical accoutrement with the pho. We have the bean sprouts. And last but not least, we have the aromatics. So you got the culantro, you got the lettuce, you got everything. So we're gonna go on an adventure today. Come along. We have a side soup, we have noodles. Some would want to put the noodles in the soup, but I've heard that you can either put the soup in there, make it a combination, or you can kind of like take it in pieces. So I'm gonna go for a little bit of the noodles. God, I can't get them. So we have a little bit of the noodles. We're gonna give it a dip in the soup. I think that's the way to go. I kind of like when it gives you the option to do different things here. And then from here you can go to the mouth. The soup is super rich, beef broth, really tasty. A little bit different than your pho broth. And then the noodles are really thin, vermicelli-like noodles. I'm a big lover of thin noodles. Many people disagree, but I think that they're the best kind of noodles. And then if you have it with, you know, you can add in your flavors. Vietnam is all about building your flavors. So, you know, if you want it spicy, you can go spicy. If you want it, you know, like just how it is. If you want to just eat a bowl of noodles, you can eat that too. So here we'll see. You can get another nice. They're kind of wrapped up. Kind of hard to get individual noodles here. We have a dipping sauce here. I'm gonna give it a dip. So you guys can see, and we're gonna try. We got a peanut dipping sauce with soy over here. Delicious. The noodles themselves are kind of dry texturally, so I think you really need the soup. I should watch someone eat this and determine how the correct way to eat it is. But regardless, it's delicious. If you're in Pleiku, or if you're, so Pleiku, it's close to the border of Cambodia and the border of Laos. So pretty Vietnamese. I don't really see anything discerningly different, but this is something that reminds me of something you did a little bit more in Laos. So I'm gonna finish this up, very delicious, and then we're gonna go see Big Ho Chi Minh. We just left lunch, super, super, super good. I hope you guys don't mind. I'm gonna wear my mask to prevent further damage from the sun. So what I will say as we walk over to our next destination is that I really enjoy these kind of medium-sized cities in Vietnam. They have lots of restaurants, there's like stuff going on. There's no nightlife here, that's okay. They're very comfortable. Everyone's super friendly, everyone's super interested. And it's really enjoyable here. So that pho kho I just had was really excellent. It was kind of very similar to things I've had in the past, but also had its own thing going on. And I think it had 4 different types of meat. It had pork cracklings, thin beef, it had ground pork, it had shrimp. So I always find that super impressive. Now we are on a mission to go say what's up to a really big statue of Ho Chi Minh. An interesting thing about Vietnam is you have to remember it's really communist. So they have a lot of these central communist official buildings, and then all over the towns they have basically, like, I'm not sure if they're rules or sayings that Ho Chi Minh had or whatever, but you see a lot of them. And if we're talking about communism, we always have to talk about the cult of personality. And so that's the idea that you create a leader and then everything about him exudes what you're trying to talk about. So in this case, communism. So Ho Chi Minh is like he was an interesting leader, but they've turned him into something much more than what he was, because you need to have that central ideological figure, just like Lenin
obviously was the leader of the movement in Russia, but they put his head everywhere, like everywhere. You can't go anywhere in the Soviet world without finding a Lenin head. You can even find them here. So yeah, I think it's really important to the ideology to have these massive statues. So we'll see what it looks like. So I'm just coming into the park now, and they've built this kind of, this is pretty epic, I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty epic. In a lot of communist places, they like these big green open spaces. And so we've got a big central area where all the people can come and they can listen to whatever's going on in town, or have festivals, or have parades, or whatever. So let's check it out. The Ho Chi Minh statue is pretty big. I didn't think it'd be this big. All right, so here it is, guys. I know the lighting's not amazing. I'll try to fix it. It's hard to get the scale from distance, but when I get close, you'll see. And in the background, we've got a really epic war memorial mural. Really cool. So this is one of the biggest bronze statues in Vietnam, apparently, for a good reason. It's like 20 feet tall. Here you guys can see big Uncle Ho. He's looking out towards a big Vietnamese flag. The thing about Vietnam is, you know, like, if I was American, I would expect to see a massive statue of one of our leaders, you know, in DC, maybe in New York. No, not even in New York, you know, these huge national monuments. But this is just a pretty run-of-the-mill city with not a lot of, I don't want to say it's not a special city, but it's just a pretty normal city. So they took the initiative to promote this. I mean, look at this thing. This is epic. So here you can see depictions of the Viet Congs and people working. We got the stilt huts that we saw. We have everybody, you know, taking care of children. It's very communist themed, obviously, workers' revolution kind of situation. But just the scale, and it's all hand carved. So, oh, we got some music. Some people playing music. Super impressive. And then in the middle, we have a big fire, and everyone is standing around it. I'm not exactly sure what it's supposed to symbolize, but absolutely gorgeous. You can really see the work they took in, and it has this kind of tribal theme that I've seen here, as many people have the tribal in. Sinjo! There's a police officer behind me. I wonder if I'm allowed to film here. I'm sure I am. He would have told me to stop if not. So here we've got another Vietnam flag. Beautiful. And here we have the seal of Vietnam right there. Guys, I'm not gonna lie, this is probably gonna be the most random thing I've ever done on a video. I kind of ran out of things to do in Pleiku, so the last one is called the Dong Gian Amusement Park. So we drove like, I don't know, like 20 minutes outside the city. There's like cows, there's nothing out here, and we have this. So here it is, Dong Gian. They've got some sort of, I don't know, I would say, it looks very like Native American to me, but they had the tribal culture. I think in a lot of places it looks very similar. So there it is. We're gonna buy a ticket, we're gonna go inside. Let's see. So they let me inside. That was their first mistake. It was $40,000 to get in. I bought a little treat for myself, so another 15, so just about $2.50 to get inside this place with an ice cream. We have a heart. I'm very interested to see what's going on in here. Expectations are high. So if we're talking about first impressions, I'm gonna argue not the best. It's a little bit falling apart. Here you can see back here, this thing has definitely seen better days. The cool part about this area, at least this is the gardening area. They've got some elephants here. You know, they even went to the detail to add a little horn, and they're growing stuff. We got a little penguin trash receptacle. That being said, I'm here for amusement, and I'm a little bit confused what amusement possibilities I have. It kind of seems like an art garden, so they've got some interesting artistic situations here. So we're gonna keep looking around. Right here we've got a interesting broken pyramid with Egyptian gods and goddesses, and a stairway to nowhere. And it's broken. Keep off the grass. The funny part is stuff like this exists all over Vietnam. So the best way I can describe it is it's just random as hell. So random. It's like they made it, but then they kind of like gave up on it, but it's still here and you can still go, and people do still go. So we have a Japanese gazebo, but the best part is there's an uncle just sleeping in there. What a legend. What a legend. Now this looks wonderful, although incredibly terrifying. I love low quality amusement park rides. They're so sketchily made sometimes, and they look like they look great, but they look like a death trap for sure. I mean, look at it. Would you want your child up there? I don't think so. I'd have my child in there. Look at that goose. We got a very dirty, bouncy house. It's nice. Oh, and some huts. Tom and Jerry making an appearance. I wouldn't, would you? I definitely wouldn't. So this is pretty cool. Behind me they've made, or in front of me, they've made a little traditional kind of hut. And over here they have a very traditional style house with the stilts and a big rock thing. I actually have a sneaky suspicion that when this place was built, it was actually quite nice. It says it was built in 2003. So now we're looking at year 17, but it doesn't look like there's been any work put into anything besides the plants since 2003. So yeah, because this is pretty cool. I really like this. And the statues are cool, and it looks like they had artists come in and do a bit of work with painting and sculptures. And yeah, look at this. Look at this. So nice. They have like hand-carved wooden sculptures in here. But, and it says it's from the Banat people. So here you can see. Beautiful, actually. Got a little pot. We can go up here. This, in its essence, has all the makeup of a completely abandoned amusement park. You know, you got stuff just falling apart, but I had to pay to get in. What's up with that? What do you think, my friend? So what I like to say about tribal things, so as we're standing in this kind of tribal area, or area of tribal carvings, is that I find that tribal artwork, no matter if it's from Native Americans in New Mexico or the Banat people of Vietnam, they have some very, very like astute similarities, whether it's tribal patterns, whether it's, I would say, the carving style, the way that they kind of create people, from what I've seen in Africa as well, and even ancient Europeans, which I think is cool. Maybe we do all come from aliens. Maybe we do. Did not know what was going on there, but fertility, probably fertility. So guys, we have a treat. We have a treat for you. Wow, this place just keeps going. At the very back end of this, we have a huge event space. You guys can see here for events, and then we have behind me another rong. This one is definitely a more ornate version, and what I imagine is a replica of maybe a traditional community house, or maybe the center of the community. Super beautiful though. Let's check it out. Got nice tribal patterns and this very funny shape again. I think as a wrap up, we'll never know what this place really is or what it means. No one to ask. So anyways, guys, thank you for coming along for this short trip through Pleiku. If you liked the video, make sure to like and subscribe. Would love to hear your comments and feedback, of course. Hit the notification bell to stay up to date on all of my travels, where we're going. Next stop is going to be back to Ho Chi Minh. And from there, we will take you on more food and travel related adventures. Come along. Thanks for watching, guys.